It's Charter California edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We're in Riverside today, and we are joined by Dr. David Hansen. He is the superintendent of the Riverside Unified School District. And I believe congratulations is in order for Riverside USD. Recently, the graduation rates came out, and your dropout rate at RUSD is pretty darn low, especially compared to other districts in the county as well as the state. 87.3% graduation rate, 6.5% dropout rate. Are you celebrating?
Yeah, we're pleased. I mean, the work of the high schools over the years, and just in high school, it really goes K-12, the whole system. But the focus on helping the kids be successful, those that start, finish strong, really pleased with what we saw.
Why do you see a trend going in the right direction, especially given that these are stats during the recession? You know, last year I don't think it's included. You know, this was when we were seeing budget cuts dramatically, and yet somehow you managed to keep it going, keep it strong.
Well, I mean, it truly, it shows the work that's going on in the classroom is really, really good. You know, there's a lot of pokes that we can take over the years in public education as funding has decreased and standards have increased. That's one thing we're really proud of, that we have continued to stay focused on kids first and instruction and helping our kids meet the bar, or get over the bar rather, and not take the eye off the end goal, which is having the kids graduate prepared for college and career.
And when we talk about funding, it's hard to deny that over the last couple of years, funding in California K-12 has seen a revolution. It used to be that schools were funded through what's known as categoricals. Now those categoricals are all but gone. And so there's a formula known as a local control funding formula that sets new standards, and school districts that educate children that fall into certain categories, foster kids, economically disadvantaged, English language learners, they will get certain bumps. And there's a bump per child, but as you also know, there's a bump if of those three categories you have a conglomeration that reaches, I think it's 55%. Does RUSD get both bumps?
Yes, yeah, RUSD gives some kind of idea. We have just under 45,000 students, and we're 66% unduplicated account.
Which means?
Which means that you can't count the kids twice.
Right.
But when you add up all the kids who are English learners, the kids living in poverty, or the foster youth kids, 66% of our district meets that need. And so we have our budget that comes, then we have the supplemental on top of that, then the concentration on top of that.
So that makes actually your graduation rates even more impressive, if I may say. But it also begs the question, I believe in your first year of this new LCFF funding, how is that spinning out? I mean, I know that probably it's hard to determine the results this quickly, but how is it going?
Ooh, good, really good. To give, I mean, just some kind of idea, speaking generally, our budget, we're a large school district, 50 students, back into 07-08 school year was cut. And we, $400 million, got $100 million cut out.
Oof. And
so as we've stair-stepped back up, the governor has restored about 70% of that budget. But we're still 25–30% down from where we were 07-08, and it's going to be 2019-20 before we're fully restored. That's the goal of this particular governor. And so as the money comes back, though, we've said for years and years in education, let us make local control. Don't have the categorical. We still have some English learners from the feds and special education from the feds, still categorical, but the bulk of the money, give it to local districts to make the decision.
And let's talk about that, because it is called the local control funding formula.
Local control formula.
And so there's no question that power has devolved down to the districts.
Absolutely.
And so I want to get a sense from you as a superintendent, as part of the LCFF, there is something called the LCAP, the Local Control Accountability Plans, and through that, your colleagues on the board and in the district office have been speaking with stakeholders and asking them, how do you want us to spend the money that we receive from the state? What did you learn? What were you told?
A lot of great stuff. I mean, one of the main goals that we have that the school board has is that the kids will be reading at grade level by 3rd grade. So we've put a lot of energy and resources into pre-K, helping the kids become kinder ready. And we have our preschool program, over 1,000 students right now. Now grade level comes in about 3,000. And so we have grown up, I mean, we've built it to 1,000. And so we've put a lot of effort into expanding the preschool, the pre-K program. Another thing that we heard is to get the parent support, or to not just rely on parents to come to back to school night open house. And so this last March, we opened our own parent center. Oh, really? It truly is like a Walmart, one-stop shopping. Right. Parents can come, and they're out in the community too, the people who work at that resource center, and it's truly one-stop shopping. Whether it's grades or college applications or resources or whatever might be the case. And another thing, and you go back to that the graduation rate, we looked at bright spots. One of the bright spots in the district is AVID, Advancement via Individual Determination. Right. And you look at AVID in Riverside, and it has a 99%, not just graduation, but kids accepted to UCs. Wow. So if you're an AVID, you're going to get to UC. Well, the school board and the district decided to push AVID all the way down to 3rd grade. Wow. And this year we have it at, I believe it's at 13 of our elementary schools. We're expanding that to another 9. We'll keep expanding it because we have 30 elementary schools. And so as we looked at bright spots and duplicating those kind of things to help the kids, that's the approach that we've taken. We heard all that from the community.
Were you hearing from the community through the LCAPs, we want more attention paid to reading, writing, arithmetic. We want more language immersion programs. We want more summer school. Were there certain areas that were popping up? Yeah,
I mean the pre-literacy, early
literacy. So
that
was a big one.
That is a big one. The parent support's a big one. Math clarity is a big one. So the tutoring that we're providing. Another one that popped up is because we have 66% of our families that are in that count, we needed to really improve on our getting bilingual aids into the classroom and translation and really spending the time and effort helping our English learners. And so that was a big one.
What about the flip side, this whole trend, the popularity of language immersion programs?
Yeah,
are you hearing that?
Oh yeah, we have a strong dual language immersion program. We expanded that one. We're up to 4 schools right now. And that's where kids come in and you have English only and English learners together. And throughout the process, the English kids learn Spanish and the Spanish kids learn English. And if you look at strong dual immersion programs throughout the state, and if you pulled those kids out in your own subgroup, they are truly your highest scoring subgroup when they get to grades 4, 5, 6, because they're completely biliterate.
At the same time, while you're receiving and allowed to exert more local control, there have been standards that have come in that some call centralized, and those are the Common Core standards. Is that a contradiction, the addition of Common Core and the addition of local control?
No. No, you look at the standards. State standards are not new to California. We had state standards that rolled out in the late 90s. And so what we've done, though, is now you have a set of standards that's common throughout the country. Now think about it. How many of us would hop on a plane if there are 50 different aviation standards? You go into surgery to have a kidney removed in California, it's going to be the same protocol back east. And so it makes sense to have a common set of standards in language and math. That's where we're starting. Eventually you'll see science, maybe you'll see the U.S. history, social science. But the standards, it's the goal. Still local control for the curriculum you're going to use and how you're going to get there. The standard is we want the kids to be able to do algebraic functions by this grade. Okay, great. We get to choose how we're going to teach it, and we get to choose the resources we're going to use.
Yet I understand there is different teaching formulas suggested through Common Core. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but I understand that there are different methods. Is that accurate?
Well, I mean, you know the drill and the kill? Yeah. We have done that in education in recent years. Probably when you and I, Brad, went to school, it was more gentler, kinder, different unit. When I went to school, I won't assume you're more gentler, kinder units, those kind of things. And so right now, we're not so much going a mile wide, an inch deep, we're able to go deeper. So you have the standards, you go deeper, teachers can really go into those units. You can have the interdisciplinary teaming, history, science,
You'll come English.
Back? I'll come back.
Okay, his name is Dr. David Hansen. He is a superintendent at RUSD Riverside USD. I'm Brad Pomerance. It's Charter California Edition.